In their first phone conversation in over a month, the White House says President Joe Biden expressed deep concern about Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's planned ground invasion of Rafah. More than 1 million Palestinian civilians have fled there to escape the fighting in the north. In a statement on X afterward, Biden said he asked Netanyahu to send a team to Washington to discuss ways to target Hamas without a major ground operation in the southern Gaza City. Netanyahu agreed to the request, but he has insisted that going into Rafah is essential to defeating Hamas, despite international pressure against the move.
I will continue to push away the pressures. We will enter Rafah. We will complete the elimination of the rest of Hamas's battalions. We will restore security, and we will bring total victory for the people of Israel and the state of Israel.
Israeli analysts say moving so many civilians out of Rafah before an invasion will be almost impossible, despite army assurances that there are plans for safety zones.
Close to 1.5 million Palestinians are in Rafah. And there's no way Israel could act there without driving most of the population out. It did so when the IDF operated in northern Gaza, but it's much more complicated to do right now, not just because of the sheer numbers, but because most of these people have nowhere to go, considering the destruction in the northern part of the Gaza Strip.
Harel also says that the Israeli army is not currently prepared for a Rafah invasion that would probably involve another reservist mobilization and last for several months.
The IDF itself is not yet prepared. There are just 5 to 6 brigades operating now in the Gaza Strip in 2 different areas, the Khan Younis area and the southern part of the Gaza City. In order for the IDF to deploy forces for a full-scale invasion of the Rafah area, I would assume that it needs to double that number at least.
Other analysts say that Israel will eventually have to go into Rafah, even if the U.S. is opposed to that.
Israel can't really win the war militarily or achieve its military objectives of destroying Hamas as a military force if it doesn't go into Rafah, because that is the last major redoubt that they have. That's apparently where much of the Hamas leadership is hiding out and much of their remaining forces.
Many of the Palestinians in Rafah are displaced from other parts of Gaza and say they are barely surviving in the overcrowded and squalid camps.
We are civilians. We don't have weapons, resistance fighters, or anything. Look at what Israel has done to us, Netanyahu. This is what Netanyahu has done. Do you see the impact of your actions on civilians and the scale of destruction?
Israeli officials say they will move Palestinian civilians to safe zones in other parts of Gaza before any Rafah invasion, but they have not given details about how they will move more than 1 million people. Linda Gradstein, VOA News, Jerusalem.